Hi Survivor! In our previous video on how to make a fursona, we talked about how the environment and challenges shape a character, the things it carries, and the personality it has, as well as the way it approaches situations. Today though, we're diving into one of the most recognizable parts of our fursona, how to pick your fursona's colors. So I hope you have a hot drink and a safe place to watch this Survivor, cause it's gonna be a long one. Now, you could throw whatever colors you like on a character and call it good. And just like before, if you're just making it for yourself, that's totally fine. However, color can have a ton of power on how a character is perceived by others, both by how pleasing it is to look at, as well as a reflection of its entire personality. The good news is, there's a wonderful guide to help us manage that power and use it to make our character shine amongst the crowd. That guide is called color theory. Now, to describe color theory, it's easier to separate it into two parts, color meanings and color patterns. We're going to start with the meanings of colors first to help you understand why putting in all this effort is worth it, as well as to help you pick main colors for your character. Then in the next video, we'll talk about the other half of color theory, and how to take those colors we picked and make them visually appealing and seamless. Now, color theory can be a bit culturally specific. Not every culture will have the same results, but as I explained, you should be able to follow along and apply what I'm talking about to wherever you live or whoever you are. Let's start with an example. Say you have the colors green and red. What comes to mind first when you see these colors? It may be something like passing and failing, go and stop, gain and loss. Now, what if we swap green for blue? Now thoughts like cold and hot, calm and stressed, water and fire pop up. Notice how not only colors have thoughts tied to them, but by how changing colors that are associated with red, we change the entire thought process around red. Pretty cool, right? What's even cooler is that these thought-color associations are shared amongst all of us. Turning on any channel talking about stocks, you'll see that red means the value dropped and green means the value rose. Those networks didn't have some secret meeting to decide what colors to use. Instead, those choices were instinctual, because these associations are something deeply ingrained in us as humans. If you still don't think color choice is important, then let's talk about some real-life examples where it was used to change attitudes and even save lives. Have you ever noticed how many fast food restaurants have red in their design? Let's make a list. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Five Guys, Arby's, KFC, Panda Express, Pizza Hut, Domino's, Papa John's, In-N-Out, Del Taco, and Carl's Jr. And those are just the ones I can name off the top of my head. Now let's name all the ones with purple. Taco Bell, and that's the list. And even Taco Bell used to have some red in their design. A massive difference between the two, am I right? Well, it's no accident. Psychologists have found that the color red stimulates appetite, while cool colors like purple make a person want to eat less. And the effect is strong enough that most of these million-dollar companies built their entire branding around it. Another great example can be found in Japanese train stations. Japan has a serious issue with suicide rates brought on by a difficult work culture and stigmatized mental health issues. A common way to commit suicide in Japan is to do so at a train station. So some of Japan's train companies teamed up with psychologists to find a solution. After much testing, a paper was posted in 2013 saying the suicide rates fell as much as 84%. What answer did they have for such a massive turnaround? What incredible technique did they use to save all these people? Blue lights. By changing the lights in the station to blue, they increased calm in people and made them less impulsive, thus leading to less suicides. Now, that huge number has been disputed and retested a few times, with results ranging from as high as 90% to only as low as 20%. But regardless, in all the studies, the results were clear that the color blue really did change how people acted. And for those in that percentage of decline, the color choice for those lights was a matter of life and death. Rather, they wake up in their beds or not at all. I know that's an extreme example, Survivor, but I want to show you that color theory can really be that powerful. So to ignore it completely will really affect how your character appears to others. Now that we've established the power scientists and artists have given us, let's see how we can utilize it to our advantage by going through a few common colors and giving examples of fursonas that work well with them, starting with black. Black is the color of suits, knights, and the void. So reports show it has a strong association with power, mystery, death, darkness, and formality. This would be a good main color for CEOs, assassins, gods of death, or private investigators. Characters who often deal in the world of high-profile people, riddles, backroom meetings, and mysterious ends. On the other side of the coin, white is often seen in clean robes, blank canvases, and bright lights. Its associations lean towards purity, innocence, holiness, and virtue and cleanliness. Characters that fit into this color could be doctors, angels, gods, and all the do no evil types. The kind of fursona that would host a charity, be honest no matter what the cost, and a guiding light through dark times. Now, next let's talk about blue, which seems to be everyone's favorite color, to the point where the blue dog is a running gag in the fandom. Blue is seen in the ocean, rivers, tears, and the sky. It represents calm, sadness, tranquility, and responsibility. A good color choice for spiritual gurus, leaders, librarians, and therapists, as well as protectors. The kind of people who can keep a level head and flow around difficulty. Those who take on tasks that others would pass up. Soft but consistent personalities that bend and never break. Now it's time for my favorite color, green. Green is the color of grass, money if you live in the US, and good reports, so it has a heavy association with nature, abundance, success, and new beginnings. A little secret is the new beginnings part is actually why Sunday has green for bandages. Since when I died, it was a fresh start in existence. In fact, when someone's new to something, it's a common term to say they're green at it. So this color obviously works well with nature lovers, generosity, and those wanting to start over. Fursonas that spend a lot of times in gardens, are at the start of their journeys, or lucky ones who can find success wherever it can be had will do well with this color. Next is yellow. Yellow is the color of the sun, electricity, and those smiley face stickers you got on report cards as a little kid. Or at least I think. I never really got them since apparently I don't play nice with others. Yellow is going to be associated with energy, light, happiness, and surprisingly lies. A great choice for characters with electricity in their veins, the life of the party, or cunning deceivers. If your fursona could power a city block with their attitude, or smooth talk their way out of any situation, yellow is the pick for you. Now, we'll be quick with orange, because orange is similar to yellow in the sense that it represents happiness and energy, but it has the added effects of stimulation and focus. The color of sunsets, citrus, and fires in the distance, I like to say orange is yellow but with a gold in mind. A passionate researcher or lawyer would fit well in this category. Fursonas with a drive and focus you couldn't break with a hammer. Purple or violet, if you are one for semantics, is the color of flowers, amethyst, and blueberries, which makes no sense. It shows wealth, royalty, ambition, and creativity. This association likely comes from purple dye being incredibly rare and expensive back in the day, so much so that only royalty could own garments colored with it. It's also why it's in almost no flag for any country. So obviously, a character with a lot of influence or power would mesh perfectly with this one. The polar opposite is brown. The color of soil, wood, and sandstone, brown represents solid, wholesome, dependable people. Real down-to-earth types and someone you can always rely on. Fatherly types, farmers, and hard workers. Far from rich and royal, but always getting the job done. If your fursona doesn't like complicated things and prefers few words to many, then brown will do you right as rain. Lastly, our frequent mention for today, red. Red is the color of blood, hearts, and angry stickers, which is the one I got, so I know that one is true. It shows passion, love, and anger. Fanatics, killers, womanizers, and zombies can use this color to its best extent. Hot-blooded fursonas who will follow their heart regardless of what's right or wrong. Those quick to fight and those crazy in love will shine with this color. Now, I won't be bringing up pink because while we often see pink as a separate color here in the West, it really is just light red. So many of the associations are the same for a lot of the world. In fact, some cultures have trouble even seeing the difference between red and pink, but that's a topic for a video on how language affects perception. Now, I want to remind you, Survivor, that this color choice doesn't have to be fur color. It can be their hair color, eye color, clothing color, jewelry, etc., and you can combine many of these to show off specific traits. Maybe you have a Fursona that's seen as a hothead and quick to fight, but on the inside they're sad and scared. We could give them a red jacket with a small blue necklace beneath it, or red fur with soft blue eyes. By doing this, we purposely trigger the effect of these colors and give the viewer an instant opinion on the character. Now, not to make it confusing, but there is another method of which you can do the exact opposite. If it's going to be a character with some plot, such as a comic book character or an animated character, then we can surprise the audience by using colors that are opposite of their personality. Like a character who wears all white and then later in the story ends up being the bad guy all along. You see, Survivor, it's totally fine to break the rules of color theory or any art concept, as long as you have a good reason to break them. Heck, I do it with Sunday. His pastel color scheme is a stark contrast to him being a zombie. It creates a visual effect that can make a character a lot deeper and interesting. At this point, I want to reiterate that I'm not forcing anyone to use this method. There is no chainsaw to anyone's head. Even though in the last video I said something similar, I got a lot of comments telling me you don't have to do what I did, so I figured I'd mention it twice this time. But I do think a lot of smart people who know a lot more than I do put their life's work into color theory, and it would be immature of us to not at least consider the results of their labor before making a decision, especially in a character we love so dearly such as Fursonas. To me, Sunday is everything, and I think the love and dedication really shows. Sadly, that's going to be it for the first half of this tutorial. I'm sorry I can't make it longer, but content like this is going to take forever to edit, so I'm chopping it up. However, I'm sure it gave you plenty to think about when it comes to picking colors. It's funny how something that seems so simple can be very complex and important if you care enough. Also, I'd love to hear your color choices and why you're going with them down in the comments. I respond to everyone, so let's have a conversation. Also, if you like this video, please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the second half. I promise it'll change the game when it comes to character creation. So until then, Survivor, remember to be safe or you may end up like me.